Hi YouTube. Today I wanted to take a look at three of my favorite Spectrum shooters, and I just came home from work and I thought, let's boot it up and play some of those games. As you can see, this time of day and this time it's not the best time for me to play these games, but it's Uridium by Hewson. It's Synapse from Hewson, and it's Terra Cresta from, I think it's Dynamics or something. Go take a look. I just love these games, and I think they make excellent use of the hardware of the Spectrum. And yeah, I'm curious what you think of these special shooters. Okay, so here we have Terra Cresta by Imagine. Just listen to this soundtrack. It's just absolutely amazing. Oh, and it's by Imagine Software, Nichibutsu. And this is just simply amazing, the soundtrack. Yeah, let's select the Camster interface and see how this plays. It gives excellent arcade action using the SUSE arcade stick with micro switches and a single red button, and hopefully being not too bad at this. Whoops. Yeah, I always, whenever I fire this up, I always lose the moment I just play the first round, and then I quickly gain momentum. There, they have used. I mean, it seems monochrome, but it's actually not completely monochrome, as they use the luminescence of the yellow, for example, very nicely. They use two variants of gray, so this is actually making excellent use of the graphics of the Spectrum, and you can actually see how they use two colors. If you look at the diagonal lines, you can actually see how the dark yellow actually skips whenever 8 lines of a character have moved. Yeah, I mean, if you're into graphics programming on these old systems, you'll know what I mean. But I mean, this smooth scrolling action is really an amazing feat. Of course, they were only able to do this because they made the playing field much smaller than the complete screen. And oh, whoops. Yeah, I just lost my extra. But yeah, I mean, they use this by poking into the character graphics, and they have they represent the screen by printing a specific sequence of characters on the screen, and yeah, using that as a giant bitmap and rotating the bitmap and stuff. But yeah, I mean, excellent action. I mean, you wouldn't think that this machine doesn't use any sprites if you look at this. The machine only has character mode graphics and high-res graphics. Nothing supporting smooth scrolling in hardware. Nothing supporting bitmapped images hovering over other graphics. This is all done in very smart graphics routines, and I mean, knowing the limitations of this machine, this game really shows what can be done with it, and I think it's one of the best looking games ever. I remember my jaw literally dropping the moment I saw this game at a friend's place. So yeah, kudos to the programmers, and a very enjoyable game. And let's move on to another game. Okay, so the next game is Uridium. A lot of people that own Commodore 64 systems know this game, and this is actually a surprising good looking game, featuring the same smooth scrolling as the Terra Cresta game, and here also they use a smaller screen to be able to have it smooth scrolling, because this machine has no sprites, has no automatic collision detection. This is all done in specialist routines created by the programmers themselves. If you are familiar with the Commodore 64 game, you'll see that the graphics used for the player graphics, the backgrounds are virtually identical to the Commodore 64 version. It actually plays very similar, and the ship looks very similar, and I mean, I think it's just amazing if you look at what they actually achieved with this game. And now it says land, but I have problems landing, and I think I die. Okay, let's move on to the next game, and I'll show you what that is. Okay, here we have the game of Synapse, by the same creator as the Uridium game you just saw. Let's listen to the music. I think it's an excellent piece of music. And this game, I mean, just look at the title screen. This game is in full color. They make excellent use of all sorts of ways to prevent the color clash. I mean, you see multiple objects moving in front of each other without much color clash, actually. I mean, you do see color clash, but it's a very colorful game. You saw the color clash on you can see the color clash on the flashing orbs. This game, it's really weird, because when I first pick it up and play it, I usually get very far, just the first time I try. But I also die, and then it's very hard to after the first try, I usually die. So I get very far on the first time I play it, after I haven't played it for a while. And then I just die, and then I just don't progress that much. But look at that. I mean, the feel of the spaceships, the alien spaceships coming towards you, is very organic because of the sine wave attack patterns, and the explosions are exquisite. And I think it's a very, very playable game. I mean, there is a Commodore 64 version out there, but they use the machine's sprite engine, and it's limited to the and it's limited to the amount of objects that can be displayed on the screen. Whereas this Spectrum version, well, it virtually has no limit to the amount of moving objects on the screen, provided the graphics routines are able to cope with the collision detection and stuff. And actually, this is, in my opinion, the Spectrum version is actually superior in playability to the Commodore 64 version. The Commodore 64 version feels slow and sort of indirect. And this version feels very acute when you control the spaceship. You don't see it because my skills are severely lacking, but yeah, I mean, definitely worth checking out if you do own a Spectrum. And yeah, it's easy to convert I mean, this game can be found on the web, and it's very easy to convert it back to tape. And if you connect a tape deck to your Spectrum, most often it will just load. If you have a Spectrum that has audio in, there's actually software that allows you to serve that to your Spectrum from the PC and load it in that way. Yeah, but I'll be back with another episode soon.